Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reisch, and this is Crime Talk, the most fact-driven, unbiased true crime channel. First on the docket, an interesting new development in the Lori Vallow-Daybell matter. Second, the judge is going to allow reverse 404B evidence in the Derek Chauvin matter, and we almost have a jury. Third, another issue that may make Governor Cuomo go away. Fourth, a 40-year-old case has been solved because of a confession. Fifth, who is on those dating apps? And finally, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Crime Talk, and my name is Scott Reisch. Thanks for watching. We have a busy docket today, but before we get there, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and also please hit that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content so that you can click the button and watch. Why not? It's free. All right, first on the docket, an interesting new development in the Lori Vallow-Daybell matter. Interesting, you might say? Scott, what could be more interesting than anything that goes on in the Lori Vallow matter? Well, this one actually has some merit. The prosecuting attorney, Rob Wood, wants to add a veteran homicide prosecutor to his team to assist in the ongoing case against Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow. Wood has made this request to have Judge Stephen Boyce. Wood made the request to District Judge Stephen Boyce to add Rachel Smith, a Missouri attorney, onto the case. Smith is still an active member of the Missouri Bar, and therefore she's not licensed in Idaho. However, she can be admitted under a motion called pro hoc vice. That basically means that someone is asking permission to practice law in a different state and that they're going to be supervised by an attorney in that particular case, but that they're going to come in as an attorney and participate. This happens quite a bit. I have been admitted pro hoc vice in I think at least 6 or 7 states over the years where you have a case and your lead counsel or you're going to be participating significantly. You ask for the court to admit you so that you can appear before the court as an active attorney. This request for a new attorney to have Ms. Smith join the team certainly would indicate that there's a lot of work ahead before the trial date, and that although there are experienced prosecutors there in Mr. Wood's office, they need somebody else to come in and participate, and they want to have somebody that has a lot of experience because, let's face it, there's not that much crime in Madison County. It's a good thing not to have that much crime so that you have a bunch of experienced people, I guess. We'll see. I can't imagine the court denying this particular request. The defense really has no real means to object to the other attorney coming on, as long as they're going to be supervised and another attorney from Mr. Wood's office would be there as well. I don't see why the court would not allow it. But it clearly shows they're gearing up, and maybe they're gearing up for something a little more. Why is that? Well, remember, we were supposed to have all those hearings last week. Well, now they've set the hearing on the secret motion for March 22nd at 3 p.m. We'll bring it to you, what there is of it, next Monday. But more than likely, it's going to be in a breakout session or in chambers, so we may not get to find out exactly what's taken place. But once we do, we'll let you know. Next on the docket, the judge is going to allow what is referred to as reverse 404B evidence. We've talked about 404B evidence quite a bit in the past. What it boils down to is each defendant is entitled to be tried on the case at hand, and you don't get to bring in other bad character evidence to say that, oh, look, they did this before, therefore they acted in conformity therewith in this particular case, and therefore he's guilty. That's called propensity evidence. 404B prohibits that. Well, the same thing often holds true when the victim of the case is at issue, you can try to bring in evidence of other misconduct, but you better get a court ruling beforehand. Well, that's what the defense tried to do. The court ruled that evidence of an unrelated May 6, 2019 interaction with other Minneapolis police will be allowed in the upcoming Derek Chauvin trial. Judge Peter Cahill ruled that Floyd's behavior after police approached him on May 6, 2019 was not admissible because it was not relevant. Cahill also ruled that statements by the police pertaining to Floyd's suspected drug use were not relevant. However, in that particular interaction, Mr. Floyd, back in 2019, attempted to conceal drugs on that date that were relevant. And that's what the court concluded. It stated, quote, "What is relevant is the May 6, 2019 case that goes to the cause of death or medical condition is essentially the video of the body-worn camera. From the time the officer approaches Mr. Floyd on the passenger side of the vehicle, the subsequent behavior with regard to eating drugs or not, and his delay in complying." Again, when we get into resisting or complying, I don't think that is of any consequence. It is delaying compliance, allowing him to inject drugs. That is what is relevant according to Judge Cahill's ruling. Now, that is relevant. And what did the court do to avoid prejudice to the prosecution? He said, we're not going to get into Mr. Floyd's resisting. The jury will never know about that unless the prosecution opens the door. But what they're saying is what they believe happened here. The defense theory is that George Floyd consumed the fentanyl when he knew that the police were onto him, so to speak, and wanted to question him, and that the consumption of the fentanyl is what ultimately caused the death of George Floyd. That is why the May 6, 2019 interaction with the police is relevant. Not that he was a bad guy because he was getting contacted, but his conduct where he acted in conformity therewith in this particular case to show that's what he does when he is confronted by the police with being in possession with illegal substances. That's why it's relevant. Now, some people will say it doesn't matter, George Floyd. Well, the court has ruled. Just like the court ruled that the defense doesn't get to bring all of it in, only a little snippet. Welcome to the world of the practice of law, ladies and gentlemen. You don't always get what you want, but sometimes you get just a little bit. The prosecution didn't want it in at all. So we will see how things continue. Now, the judge is also upset because the mayor and the city attorney in Minneapolis acknowledged that settling the case with the Floyd family for $27 million may have prejudiced the case. Duh. And the court even commented saying, I'm not sure why the mayor and the city attorney are even continuing to still talk about it to make it rise back up again. The court made those comments when the defense argued for their motion for a delay or a change of venue. The court denied that, saying that I don't think I'd be able to find any place in the state of Minnesota where we could get a jury that has not heard about this and been subjected to extreme amounts of publicity in this particular case. On another note related to the jury selection in the Derek Chauvin matter, we almost have a jury. By the time that this airs, we may actually have enough jurors. But as of right now, we are one short. There are 13 jurors that have been selected. 5 men, 8 women. Let's go through who they are. First, a white woman in her 40s who works in insurance and says she loves the state of Minnesota. Second, a black woman in her 60s who retired from marketing and said she loves spending time with her grandkids. A white nurse in her 50s who works with ventilated COVID-19 patients. A mixed race woman in her 40s who works in company reorganization. A black man in his 40s who works in management and has lived in the county for 2 decades. A white woman in her 50s who works in healthcare and likes to ride her motorcycle. A black man in his 30s who works in banking and teaches youth sports. A white woman in her 50s who works at a nonprofit and is a single mother of 2 teenage sons. A black man in his 30s who works in tech and immigrated from Africa to the United States. A white auditor in his 30s, a mixed-race woman in her 20s who said she was super excited to serve, and a white chemist in his 20s who plays ultimate frisbee. We may have a jury as early as today or as early as next week, and then we're going to start the evidence. That's when things are going to get good, so a world can see what took place, what was the cause of death of George Floyd, and what wasn't. We'll see if these jurors have a difficult time coming to a conclusion or whether it's rather simple for them. Either way, they have got to realize what a huge decision they have to make. We'll be following it. Next on the docket, the other issue that may make Governor Mario Cuomo go away. What really got the issue started with Governor Cuomo was the fact that he had directed his staff, allegedly, to alter the number of deaths in nursing homes, given the fact that he had ordered people with COVID-19 to be sent to nursing homes, not to the medical ships or other temporary hospitals that had been set up, probably because he didn't get along with the previous presidential administration. But needless to say, there's a federal investigation, but now it digs even deeper. Federal law enforcement officials are scrutinizing New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's controversial move to help his donors shield nursing home executives from legal consequences during the COVID-19 pandemic. The probe follows an investigative series detailing how one of Cuomo's biggest donors, the Greater New York Hospital Association, a lobbying group that represents hospital systems and nursing home operators, said, quote, "It drafted and aggressively advocated for," end quote, "the corporate immunity provisions. The Cuomo administration quietly inserted that measure into his state budget as thousands lay dying from the COVID-19 in New York nursing homes." Now, some could say that could just be politics, or it could be political payback. I guess we have to check those bank accounts and see where the money went. We'll wait and see. Now, of course, Cuomo has another accuser coming forward as it relates to the sexual harassment, but I still think that one case where he is alleged to have groped a staffer at the mansion where he put his hands underneath her blouse and felt her up, that is a crime, ladies and gentlemen. That is a crime. We'll see if it goes forward. We'll see if the governor is charged. And there's more and more momentum for impeachment of the governor. All right, before we continue on, let's take a quick recess. Please go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. I cannot stress enough how important it is, I think, for everyone to go to CrimeTalkSearch.com. Take a look at this testimonial we received just the other day. Unsolicited, but said, yes, I searched somebody. I thought it was going to be Mr. Right, my knight in shining armor. Ooh, turned out he was a little tarnished. They wouldn't have known that unless they had gone to CrimeTalkSearch.com and done that background search. I'm telling you, it's the best investment you can make in making sure the people you want to be friends with are good people. All right, next on the docket. Nearly 40 years after a 59-year-old woman was brutally murdered in her home, investigators in Massachusetts have announced that the cold case has been solved. The Plymouth County District Attorney, Timothy Cruz, said Thursday that the death of Virginia Hannon was committed by Jesse Alward. Now, Cruz said that a tipster identified only as a friend of Alward's reported the day after Alward's died that the man admitted to the killing of the woman many years ago. Alward was born in 1961 and died in 2020 at the age of 58, meaning he was 22 at the time of the murder in 1984. Alward apparently confessed to a friend sometime in 2019, a year prior to that friend reporting the confession to the police, and only after Alward died. I wish they had gone to the police beforehand so that the family could have hopefully received some justice. It just shows you, though, on all of these cold cases, ladies and gentlemen, someone, somewhere knows something. But if somebody hears something, they need to report it so that justice can be given to the families. Next on the docket, who is using those dating apps? You'd like to think you see the commercials that everybody that uses these dating apps is going to meet Mr. or Mrs. Right. Or you could be someone that meets somebody that wants to do harm to you and chop you up and eat you. That's right. Chase Seneca, a 19-year-old Louisiana man, has been indicted in federal court with a hate crime and 5 other criminal acts. The indictment alleges that Seneca used Grindr, a hookup app for men who have sex with men, to find a gay man to kill. Seneca hoped to eat his victims' body parts and save the other parts as mementos and trophies. That's according to the indictment. On June 19th and 20th of 2020, Seneca attempted to kidnap 18-year-old Holden White and tried to dismember him. White recalled that he was just staring at me with a fearful look in his face like, "I just did this." White said, "I was laying in the bathtub, naked, bleeding out, the water red and cold. I remember thinking, well, this is it." White recalled repeating, "Stay calm," to himself over and over again as he faded in and out of consciousness. The attack left him in a 3-day coma. He woke up in a hospital in the intensive care unit, and he was hospitalized for a month and was released just before his 19th birthday. Now, the Facebook profile under Seneca's name included a profile picture of Jeffrey Dahmer. For those who don't recall, Jeffrey Dahmer was a serial killer who murdered and dismembered 16 men and boys. Dahmer is alleged to have eaten some of his victims' body parts and kept other parts as trophies and mementos. Seneca sought to do the same to his victims pursuant to the indictment. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said this before, all right? You're hearing it from a criminal defense attorney. If people knew what went on in the world, they would curl up in a ball in their homes, in the fetal position, and not come out. It's a scary world out there, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe. All right, next on the docket, our dumb criminal contestant of the day, and then a final recap of our dumb criminal contestants of the week. Please meet Brandy Stanley. The police made contact with Miss Stanley after she was driving around a drive-through McDonald's and apparently had indicia of intoxication. When Miss Stanley was arrested, they ultimately found that she had an 8-pack of vodka stuffed in her bra. And while they were on their way to the police department, she said, "Just take me home. Let's forget this. I'm so stupid. I should know better." Miss Stanley had to be removed from the police cruiser with the assistance of several deputies because she was causing such a scene. And once she was extracted from the cruiser, that's where the police located the 8-pack of Deep Eddy vodka under her bra. One bottle was missing from the packs, according to the police. Maybe the police needed to take a quick shot after dealing with Miss Stanley. Either way, Miss Stanley, you are our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Congratulations. You are competing against some very tough competition, all right? Now, Miss Stanley may be saying, how tough could the competition be? I had 8 vodka bottles in my bra. Beat that. Well, remember Mr. Bawaji? He worked at an assisted living facility but he forgot to check for the camera that was set up by the family members of the person that he was caring for, and he sexually assaulted them. Yeah, that's right. Not a good move. On Tuesday we didn't do a video because we went live and it was a crazy day. But we had Mr. Rawls, 38, admitted to throwing a smoke bomb outside Mar-a-Lago because he was angry he didn't get his stimulus check. That's right. And Thursday, it was a double bonus round of our dumb criminal contestants. First, America's favorite Florida man with his tattoo of the state on his forehead makes another appearance, this time for not showing up in court. Then we had the young lad who dashed from the police car that he had been arrested in with his handcuffs behind his back, dashing away from the police only to be caught. But all his buds are going to think he's the coolest dude ever. Remember 47-year-old Eric DeTige, the 47-year-old who was made contact with the police because he was outside pleasuring himself while at the same time putting a pickle in his anus. He was reserved as the pickle-packing perv popped on private premises because he was playing with a pickle. That's right. Say that 3 times fast. Either way, he's kind of my leading contestant for the week. But let me know. Let me know if you agree. Who else deserves it? Miss Stanley, that's your competition. Game on. All right. If you would like to get cool merchandise, simply hit the link, take it right to Teespring. You can order your cool merchandise. You don't have to become a dumb criminal contestant, and you too can have some cool Crime Talk mugs. That's all we have. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to watch the weekly recap that'll be here tomorrow. Have a great day. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.